All right. Hi, everybody. Here we are, weekly devotion, 15th of April, tax day. Sort of. I think they extended that. But anyway, we're looking at Samuel, looking into Psalms, starting to read Matthew. And this morning we were reading Matthew. Yeah, we were reading that too. But what I wanted to talk about was what we read in Samuel 17. Of course, Samuel 17 is the account of the encounter with Goliath, David and Goliath, and there's just something really interesting to me that happened there in 17 verse 39. It says this. It says, "And David strapped his sword over his armor, and he tried in vain to go, for he had not tested them. Then David said to Saul, 'I can't go with these, for I haven't tested them.' So David put them off." And again, we have this idea, the conflict going on between the army of Israel and the army of the Philistines, and Goliath walks out, and Goliath is huge, and basically sits back and says, "Hey, no point in killing everybody. Why don't you send somebody out to take me, and if you can take me, you win. If I take you, we win, and we'll serve each other." And of course, nobody did that. David saw this as a kid, a youth, and David understood what the rest of Israel didn't understand. David understood that really what Goliath was doing was he was challenging God. And David knew that God was going to win. Whether he used the entire army of Israel or even if he just used this kid. And so he convinced Saul of this, that he had some fighting experience, not anything like what he was up against, but he convinced Saul that he was going to win this thing because God was with him. And so Saul, being the king, actually gave David his own armor. And my assumption is it was probably the best armor around because Saul was king and the king gets good stuff. So David puts it on. He kind of walks around a little bit and he really realizes that, I can't use this. I'm just not used to fighting this way. And he tells Saul, and he thanks him. I'm sure he's not rude to the king. But he takes the armor off and he picks up 5 stones for his sling. And that's the way he's used to fighting. And he goes out, and of course, Goliath bites the dust at David's hands, and David wins. And the take home for this, for the thing for us, is that when we set out to do something good for God, who sets out to do something bad for God? Sorry. Anyway, when we set out to do something for God, there are going to be all kinds of people who are going to want to help. And they will provide training, and they'll provide advice, and they'll provide equipment, and do all kinds of stuff for you. And really what you have to do is you have to evaluate, can I really use this stuff? Is this really what God wants me to do? How he wants me to fight? How he has trained me up to do things? And if you can use them, great, go ahead and use them. But if they're just not you, you're not under any obligation. This is your ministry. This is something that God has given you to do. You need to do it, and you need to do it in the way that God has equipped you to do. And again, it's always nice to have the right equipment, but if you're not used to using the right equipment, if you're not used to fighting in armor, don't fight in armor. It sounds kind of contraindicated. By all means, David did get training. He did get his own armor, and he used that all the time, I'm sure. But at that point in his life, in his ministry for that particular job, the only armor he needed was God. so again, when you have a task, by all means do it. Accept the help that you can. Accept the help that's helpful. It's, again, not a question of whether it's good help. It's help. People purposely want to help you, want to assist you in doing your thing. So allow them to do that if you can. But if it really isn't going to help you, politely, just, hey, thank you very much, but no, this really isn't going to work for me. I'm going to do it my way. Most people will be okay with that. Some, maybe not so much. But you've got to do your ministry your way. And God is going to see you through on that. So by all means, go out there in the next several days and be the church. Go do what God has called you to do. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.